Hey there, CJ Miller. I'm in my apartment in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River, beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. Come check us out. Lots of fun things to do. So here we're going to do in my kitchen the recipe for my really quick jambalaya. It's something you throw together. You want some real quick. It's a brown recipe. That means it's going to stay with the colors that we put in here. We're not going to worry about adding any sort of tomato to make it red and add a little citrus to the thing. We're not doing that. I could do that if I want to, but I don't want to do that. So we'll start here is you take your trinity. That's your celery, your onion, your bell pepper. Put it in the pan, and you saute that really well with chopped up chicken breast and sausage of your choice. A lot of people down south use andouille. Up here, a lot of us use down home sausage. I use hot link. I had some hot link. Hot link give it a good flavor. So put that in, and then of course I take my kitchen bouquet, about a good tablespoon, dilute it in, enough water that you're going to use. And then on top of that, I put a little bit of chicken bouillon. That's going to add a little salt and also a little chicken stock, and black pepper. Add a little bit of extra onion powder. And then I got this piece of resistance, as they say in France, you know. So yeah, and what I'm gonna do is I already done did it. So put that much that you see on top, and then turn your heat on and make sure what you want to do is we'll get this a good stir. All this stuff I'm gonna show you. We'll put enough rice, maybe get about enough rice in its raw form to cover maybe about 2 inches from the bottom, and then you stir it up. And then we're gonna wait until it comes to a boil, and then I'm gonna show you what to do when it comes to a boil. See you after the click. Now you know this rice gonna swell up to 2.5 times the amount of dry rice you put in. So you put in 2.5 times the amount of water that you put into the rice, and then the ratio of all the other things you kind of do to flavor. If you're doing it as a main dish, you put in more of the meats and the vegetables. If you're doing a side dish, you could put in less of the meats and vegetables. I'm doing this as a large amount to last me for a few days. Once this get cooked, I don't want to have to cook anymore in my kitchen while my air conditioning out of order, and I got to just temper everything in here. So wait until it get done come Monday, and then I'll cook some more food. But I really want this to be, a limited amount of cooking in the apartment here. So I just want to throw that out there, let you know what's up. But this gonna make your kitchen hot for a moment. Something else I like to do here with the sausage, I like to cut up some pieces small, chicken small, some of the sausage small, and then when I get to some of the sausages, I like to cut them up bigger, for a variation of texture and flavor. It lets people see what's in here, because some of it's going to shrink up here. And so to let people see what's in here, and they decide if they're going to eat this or they're going to eat the next thing on the buffet line. That's up to them, You got to cook for you in your house, and then people come over, they eat the way you want to eat, or they can go someplace else so they can eat. They can just sit down and visit, and when it's time to eat, they go someplace else. We ain't raising no babies around here. Tell you something. What I done did is I done put about half a teaspoon of balsamic vinegar, not vinaigrette, balsamic vinegar. I done put in here to also kind of just balance out. What that does is help bring the flavor together, and also with the rice, it's going to help it when it gets to cooking. It's going to help it keep the core of that rice a little bit firm, help keep it from getting too mushy. Because we didn't pre-brown the rice in here or something. That's some people could do. Now, if you're doing a gumbo, you would do this, but you do it with the brown rule, and then you cook the rice off to the side, and then you put the rice on top of the gumbos. The stew that's a gumbo. It's a nice watery something. But this, with the water, is going to cook in here with all these flavors. Just going to cook into the rice, but all this is going to be stirred into the rice. And what to make it different than a West African jollof bowl is what happens is you would take your protein, that's your meat, and you leave it off to the side, and you cook all this together with the rice and everything like that, maybe with a couple of small pieces of meat or something like that to help the flavor in, the fat of it and stuff like that. But the protein you would take and you'd put to the side, and it'd be like a small portion so everybody could see. They get a little slice of the chicken or the sausage or something like that, you know. Maybe a little fish or something. And this way you can let people choose what kind of protein they're gonna have. You know, that's how they do in some West African jollof bowls. I'm not West African. I'm Louisiana, so I do, you know, jambalaya. You know, and it's, you know, it's a close relationship between a gumbo and a jambalaya, but as much as they are alike, they're different. We'll talk about that later too. Let's see, one of the main difference between a jambalaya and a gumbo is, see, the rice is going to be in here, and all the fluids are going to go, and they're going to soak up into the rice over the next 15-20 minutes here, because we come with this we see it's burning, now how we want it to boil. So, and I then gave it a light little stir before I brought the phone back over to talk to you. So now we see it's boiling like that, and you can take a spoon to put over this, and it's gonna not boil over. There's enough salt in here to probably help it not boil over, but we're gonna put a lid on it anyway. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this down to a simmer, and this lid gonna help retain the heat, and we're gonna keep a low simmer, and then we're not even gonna stir it for a good 15 minutes. Nothing gonna happen to the bottom of it. It's good to go. Good coating on the bottom of it and everything like that. We'll come back in 15 minutes and you'll see that this will be a nice jambalaya, a sausage and chicken jambalaya, real quick, and in really about an hour, you know. And you can really, if you really want to make a really good jambalaya, you do all your stocks and everything from fresh vegetables, and you chop them up and you do all that and everything. These are pre-chopped for me, and I also use some kitchen bouquet to help me get some of those essences and flavors and stuff like that. But you'd have started with your, really probably the day before, with your chicken stock. Instead of a chicken bouillon, you'll use a chicken stock, you know, or chicken broth. But, you know, either from the bones it's called a stock, from the meat it's called a broth. So if a lot of meat, even if it's got some bones in it, it's still a broth. But chicken bouillon and kitchen bouquet will help you get a quicker yield on what you want to do. Now, so a gumbo, if you were going to do a gumbo, you would cook the rice separately, and then all these flavors, they would stay in a nice soupy thin broth. You could use a little bit of a roux to start with. You would start out with the roux. See, I didn't use a roux in here because the starch coming off of the rice is going to help also thicken the sauces. So the sauce is going to be pulled into the rice, absorb into the rice as it cooks over these 15 minutes or so. And then also it's going to be exchanging starches with the fluid. So it's going to be giving off starches and taking in fluid. That's the rice, what the rice is going to be doing. And then of course these all these flavors coming from the sausage and the chickens and the trinity and the seasonings that I add, they're all going to blend in together. And I did not even add the gumbo filet to this. That's something I put on the gumbo. I put on the gumbo is a filet sauce. That's a ground sassafras. I don't put it on the jambalaya, but I could. Now see, this is going to be a nice brown. So that's that Creole, whatever. You want to go a little bit more continental or something to the, whatever, you would get you a tomato product. You get you some chopped up tomatoes or tomato sauce, anything like that. And you would put to taste enough in here, but you'd really want, it's good, but you really want the redness of that tomato sauce to come here and bring some, that color, balance out, bring some red in here and balance out these browns that are going to happen. But I don't want the flavor, so I'm going to stay with my brown jambalaya and not the red jambalaya. It would give a twang, but you remember I already put a little bit of vinegar in here for for the rice, so I don't really need the acidity that I would get from the tomato, because that balsamic vinegar is going to provide that. You know, that's a good thing to do. If I'm not mistaken, the kitchen bouquet might have a twisted vinegar too. Let me see. Nah, but it do got, inside of all these other trinities, it's also got the garlics and the carrots and the cabbages and all the you know, all those reduced flavors. It's gonna be in here, even without seeing it. You didn't have to, you know, it's a real simple. You could buy all that separately and chop it all up and marinate it in here. It looks pretty when you could do that. I didn't have it on hand, so this is a good one to do. You know, like I said, it's a quick one. It's a quick jambalaya. If I was gonna do something for the, if I was gonna do something for the people, you know, then you know I'd be going that extra mile, so to speak. You know, but yeah, you could put a little jalapeno in here if you want to. You throw anything in here that you want to. That's the thing about a jambalaya. You go around the kitchen and you put whatever you want to in, as long as you keep the basic premise of it. You can work with it. You know. I tell you what, do got the vinegar in it. Yeah, we got the vinegar in it. This Cajun chef sauce, and so let's see. It's almost the same recipe as Tabasco or Crystal hot sauce. I prefer Crystal over all of it, but look, it's in here. Yeah. So it's got Louisiana cayenne peppers, that's your red pepper, distilled vinegar, salt, and no sugar. The difference between this and tiger sauce, you get you some tiger sauce. Tiger sauce is the same stuff as cayenne pepper sauce, Tabasco sauce, Crystal sauce, all that. But the difference with that is that it's also got sugar in it, and the sugar will help balance out the heat. If you're afraid you got too much heat in it, then you can put a little bit of sugar, and that'll balance it out. Let's steam up the foam while I do this. You're not gonna take too much. Just that much. Maybe about half a teaspoon. We're not gonna stir it, we're just gonna let it steep. I should have put it in before I, you know, but that's all right. If I want to, I can give it a light toss it around. It's not gonna matter too much because I'm not trying to like, you know, I'm not trying to make a sticky rice. But I do want there to be some consistency. I don't want it to be like a soup. So it's really okay if I do give this a stir, and that releases a little bit of the starches. And I think I'm gonna do that in just a second, just to blend in this hot sauce that I just put in, just to give it that extra kick. You want to put in a little burgundy, as they say. You want to put a little sherry in. You want to put a little wine or whatever. Don't use anything if you're gonna cook with the wine or something like that. Don't use anything that you wouldn't drink at your table. If you wouldn't drink a Chablis at your table, then don't put it into your cooking. If you're not gonna drink it at the wine glass, don't have it on the dinner plate. Cooking is chemistry. Cooking is chemistry, you know. Cooking is chemistry, you know. A little bit goes a long way. You want to put your finger. simmerments. Simmeration. It's not gonna be that much longer now. It's just sitting on here. I'm gonna turn it down. Yeah, so I'm right at the point where I'm gonna stop and let that jambalaya just rest and do what it do. Make sure it gets thoroughly cooked all the way through. Now, you know, some of my people out in Louisiana, they're gonna be hearing this and they're gonna say, you know, that's not the way we talk. We don't speak in that fashion. Oh, but it's all fun. It's all make believe. It's all good in the hood anyway. So you know, whatever. But you know, when I am from Shreveport, and this is not a natural Shreveport accent. But you know, when I was a little boy, I lived in St. Mary Parish, and I was around a lot of people, a lot of thickly different Cajun and Creole type flavors and accents to the dialect the way they speak. And I guess when I think that, you know, just for fun, just for pretend or whatever, you know, not to make fun of, but to basically to honor that part of my Louisiana heritage, you know. But yeah, so it's a kind of, I get a little amalgam of all of it that I hear, you know. And you know, you can hear all sorts of effects coming in because it is a mix-up. You get little bits of the Italians that settled the Irish channel down in New Orleans. You hear some of the more you know, the true Cajuns that spent a lot of time up in Amelia and you know, Bayou Bluff and all those areas, you know. And then you know, I tell ya, we went to this lake, not a lake, but where we swam. I guess they called it Patterson Lake. I don't know if it was a lake in Patterson. It was Patterson, we swam, whatever. It's not there anymore. A lot of erosion from the 1980s to now has had to occur with the hurricanes and stuff like that. And this is those kind of things, they're not there anymore. And I had this whole argument with this dude. He was talking about his region, and I said, well, when I was a boy, we went there. He said, there's no such thing as there. And then we looked it up, and it's like, you know what? Where I used to be, can't be there no more. You know, but that's you know, life goes on. You learn and you live. So, but yeah. So you hear this, and I'm doing the whole accent and everything like that. Don't be no offended. You know, I'm just having fun with it. You know, I don't mean nothing by it, y'all. No. Okay. Let's get over here and give this thing a taste. Not all that. This all I need to get. This all I need to get is a little taste. Now you want to slice up some carrots in here? Do that, you know. Slice up some celery, do all that. But those flavors are here. But yeah. Oh yeah, man, those flavors are here. It's great. I almost went Jamaican there. What the hell? Seriously. I was just having fun with my Louisiana dialect and everything like that, please don't be offended. I am from Louisiana. Your culture is my culture, and my culture is your culture. And you want to properly handle your food so that your food does not culture. Meaning between each step, handling the chicken separately, handling the and washing the chopping board between chopping up the chicken and chopping up the sausages and all that. Treat everything very respectfully. If you treat your food respectfully while you're preparing it, then it will treat you very respectfully when you're eating it and when it's nourishing your body. Okay, so a good way to appreciate and give thanks for the food that we have and everything is to properly prepare it and properly store it and properly use it, because then you really don't waste a lot. And that is the French way of cooking, is that you use everything that you can and reduce the waste. This is delicious. I knew it would be. I've made it before. Chicken and sausage jambalaya. Love and light. Peace. God bless. Bon appetit.